two people.
Okay, let's start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode. I'm Gianilú Chávarry, Science Communications from the Peruvian Life Cycle Assessment and Industrial Ecology Network from the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú. And I'm here at the University of Exeter, specifically in the Greenpeace Research Lab with David Santillo. David is a marine and freshwater biologist and senior scientist with the Greenpeace Research Laboratories, where he has worked for 25 years. During that time, David has contributed to projects aimed at documented threats to the environment in many parts of the world, has co-authored numerous papers and reports, and has represented Greenpeace International at meetings of several environmental agreements relating to the marine environment, including the London Convention. So what I really like about this expertise is that David mixes perfectly the science communications, the research, and the decision making. So I'm so happy to be here with you, David.
Well, you're very welcome to be here.
So, David, what do you think if you start talking about Greenpeace? Can you tell us about its purpose and what it does?
Well, Greenpeace is a global environmental organization. It has been established for many years, many decades now. Mm-hmm. Initially focused on the protection of the planet from the nuclear threat. And people may be familiar with the protection of the whales as well, the work to save the whales. But now is much broader in its remit and looks at raising the problems of climate change, of chemical pollution, of loss of biodiversity from both terrestrial and marine ecosystems. It's a campaigning organization. Mm-hmm. It does non-violent direct actions. It has a commitment to non-violence, but it is confrontational. One of the key parts of Greenpeace is the concept of bearing witness. So that is going out and telling people about the problems that are happening to the planet and to the people. And what we do is bear witness through the science that we do, through the research.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very important that this science research reach the general public and just not stay in the science community.
That's our hope. So the science that we do has to be done to the same quality as any research anywhere on the planet. We have to be able to publish the work and mm-hmm. have that scrutinized and peer reviewed. But at the same time, we are in the position where we can also bring that science very directly to the public, to decision makers, exactly. Because of the ways in which Greenpeace is able to work.
Yeah, fantastic. And well, something incredible is that right now we are here in the only research lab of Greenpeace. So what an honor. Can you tell us what exactly you and the team do here?
The laboratories here in the University of Exeter. We've been here now for just over 30 years within the university. And our laboratories focus mainly on environmental chemistry, environmental pollution. We don't try to compete with national monitoring programs or big university research projects. We have to target our work. We're a small lab. We're a small team of people. So what we try to do is look where other people aren't looking. So primarily in parts of the world where people don't have access to laboratory facilities or looking at issues that other people are not looking at. Okay. And we use our equipment, which is largely about finding chemical contamination, identifying pollutants, those kinds of things, in a forensic way. So we call what we do environmental forensics, because it has a lot of similarities to investigating crimes. Some of the things we investigate are environmental crimes, but it's about trying to get as much information as possible from the research projects that we do, that we can publish as science, but we can also then use to explain the problems to the public and to hopefully influence policy.
Excellent. And just talking about this last thing that you say, how do you manage these result findings to reach the science communications team of Greenpeace? How is this relationship between you both?
Well, it's a very long-standing relationship. It's not always the easiest because, as you know, science is complex. It has to have nuance. You have to explain things carefully.
Yeah.
And sometimes the communications have to be, of course, much simpler, much more direct, much shorter in terms of the information you can get across. I think over the many years that we've been doing this, we've got better at communicating those complex ideas. But there are sometimes tensions because the message is not as simple, perhaps, as communicators would like it to be. We have to make sure that the uncertainties, the unknowns, are still part of the discussion.
Exactly.
But when it comes to making policy, to making decisions in public fora, in environmental regulations, that uncertainty is just as important a part of the message, because that's where the need for precaution comes in the way in which you set policy, so that you don't set up problems for the future. You actually look ahead and try and solve problems now in the present.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. I have done this work in Peru with a research group, and it's difficult to choose the exact words to say the things and not like just saying totally, this is totally 100% like this, because it's not.
To take an example, we do a lot of work here on plastics pollution. We work closely with the University of Exeter and some of the research teams here in that work as well. And when you are documenting plastics pollution, there is quite a lot of certainty these days. Plastics are everywhere. We can be very confident in identifying plastics in the environment. We know a lot about the impacts that plastics have on wildlife. There are huge uncertainties on what the threat is to humans.
Yeah.
We know that people are exposed to plastics internally as well as externally. We know that you can find plastics in lots of different human tissues, but we still don't know what the health implications of that are. So where we have to be very careful in advising the science communication teams is not to overinterpret findings, not to say that we know more about health effects than we do, and to communicate that uncertainty. And I think that's absolutely critical, both in terms of getting the right policies, but also to make sure that we're honest to people in what we know and what we don't.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very interesting. So maybe can you, do you know like the key points of what the science communicators have to know in order to do this research clear?
So often Greenpeace offices come to us with project proposals, plans of what they want to do. We have to be careful to make sure that what we are looking at are questions rather than assumptions. So we have to be careful to advise those who are in the field of communications or in campaigning that it may not be as simple as they think. That we can investigate something, but of course the science comes through with the evidence, and we have to follow the evidence in a sense. So we are very conscious of the fact that our output from our work has to be able to be published in the peer-reviewed literature, but also capable of being communicated in a way that's understandable broadly. And that's part of our role as well. We don't just do the science and then give it to somebody else to communicate. We've played a role for a long time in actually making sure that the messages we give are something which can be communicated almost directly to the public and to the media and more widely. It's always a conversation, because there are some things which we're not communications professionals. So there are always some things which we may miss as scientists, and we have to work with our communications teams to make sure that in the end, what goes out is the most balanced, the most supported outcome. And normally there would be a technical report or a paper. There would be perhaps a briefing that would come with that to explain the results. There would then be a press release. There may be other things that then have to go on top for social media. And then on top of that, we're often called upon to give interviews directly on the work that we've done. to explain not just what we've done, but also the relevance of it to policy making and to the public.
Yeah, that's true. So let's use this like as a call to action to everyone to continue working in these topics that are very important. So thank you so much, David, for joining us here. It's been incredible to dive in this intersection between science communications and the environmental advocacy.
Well, thanks for coming all the way to Exeter and for spending some time in our laboratory. So thank you.
Thank you. Until the next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.